African American history is deeply woven into the fabric of our nation's history and culture. And those persons shown here have played an important role in shaping the history and culture of African Americans. Some are not household names. Test your knowledge about these famous African Americans and share with family and friends.
My name is Gwendolyn Carmichael. I've been collecting African American stamps for about 30 years, and I made my first sampler quilt in 2002. It has been a great hobby that has turned into a collection of African American history and U.S. postage. Once I started quilting, it never entered my mind that one day I would see my collection of stamps on quilts. The first quilt in this series began with Booker T. Washington and went through to Percy Julian. Putting this quilt together was really very easy, just blocks, sashing, borders. But with each block came overwhelming pride, and searching and choosing the right fabric took some time. I started this quilt at the beginning of my collection, and what you see is the first in a series of quilts depicting African Americans on U.S. postage. I'm currently working on the second in a series and continue to be excited about the process and quite pleased with the contribution we as a people have made to this country. On April 7, 1940, a 10-cent stamp honoring Booker T. Washington was issued. On October 20th, 1940, a 3-cent stamp honoring the 13th Amendment was issued. Later, in 1948, a 3-cent stamp was issued honoring Dr. George Washington Carver, and the centennial of Booker T. Washington was issued in 1956. In 1963, the 5-cent Emancipation Proclamation stamp was issued. These first 5 stamps were the most difficult to locate for my collection, and to get clear copies from the internet for my quilt was almost impossible. Before collecting, I had never heard of these 5 stamps, but traveling from stamp show to stamp show, I came to realize that they were hidden treasures. We all should be proud, as I am, of all the ways in which we have advanced and have made significant strides in this country. I encourage all of us to continue our investment in African Americans on U.S. postage. For this quilt, I decided to focus on a music theme. This quilt is titled Legends of American Music. On this quilt, you will find African Americans in rock and roll, rhythm and blues, Broadway musicals, popular music, jazz, jazz musicians, and gospel. I am sure that you will recognize most of them, So take some time and see if you can recall a song or two as performed by these distinguished African Americans. I'm Gwendolyn Carmichael, and this is the third in the series of African Americans on U.S. Postage. This quilt is just slightly different from some of the others. On here you will find that there are duplicate stamps. There are stamps from Frederick Douglass that you've seen on a previous quilt on one, and Harriet Tubman, which you've also seen in series one. And then there's several of Martin Luther King, and it's just that they have appeared in different years and then under different circumstances. Dr. King under civil rights movement, and then the sports figures, Jackie Robinson, on two special events in his life. So on this quilt, it's a little bit different, but again, it is African Americans on U.S. postage from the 29-cent to the 37-cent stamp. There are more African Americans appearing now, because not only do you get the American Heritage stamp or the Black Heritage stamp, but now you also get several other stamps during the year. They have a stamp of the cell phone, an African American shown using the cell phone for the first time. Kwanzaa stamp was used twice with the same image, and they appear on the same panel on this quilt. And then you'll find near the bottom of this quilt, you'll find the Kwanzaa stamp being used 3 times in 3 separate years, and 2 of those stamps are identical. I'm Gwendolyn Carmichael, and I encourage you to make yourself familiar with the contributions and influences that African Americans have made on the history of our country.